To a Big Ten championship. Michigan, meanwhile, on the bubble, needing a big win, 8-7 in league play, a chance to get it against a red-hot Purdue team. Those are the top 7 of the Big Ten standings as of right now. And the potential player of the year, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country, Caleb Swanigan for Purdue. A great start to this one. His size, a big problem for the Wolverines of Michigan. Swanigan has made all 3 of his shots from the field so far. Caleb Swanigan, more double-doubles than anybody in the country, second most rebounds of any player in college basketball. So Swanigan and Purdue playing here on the road. Time now to go beyond the bucket, presented by PNC Investments. And I'll send it over to my partner, Dan Dockage.
Well, I'm standing here with my favorite senior here on senior night at Michigan, my son, Andrew Dockage. Andrew, this is the culmination of a lifetime of basketball. How are you feeling right now? It's senior night, last game at home in college.
Man, I'm nervous. I'm walking out with you guys. I seen Mom cry, things like that. It was a heck of an experience. And to be around it, coming to an end, it's something different, that's for sure.
Do you remember the first time we practiced or played against each other when you were a little kid?
It was in Cobblestone. Coach Meyer, Urban Meyer, lived right behind us. We had like a little 5-foot rim, and you never let me beat. We had a little full court, didn't we? A little full court action. So yeah, that was our first time. Probably.
Do you remember the first time you actually beat me, or have you ever beat me?
I've definitely beaten him. But my first time was 7th grade at the YMCA in Bloomington.
What was the score?
11 to, we're going to say 11 to 4, me.
I love you, kid.
Love you too. Love you too. Thank you.
All right, great stuff from the Dockages. That's also a part of the storyline today for Andrew and several other members of this Michigan team, senior night. And for my partner, a very emotional moment before the game. Andrew, Mom Jackie, and Dan, of course, out there with his kid. I know you were proud. Andrew has been a heck of a contributor to this Michigan program. There is not a person here who doesn't say great stuff about what he's done for the program, despite not getting a lot of minutes on the floor in game action. They're really going to miss him.
Well, he's redshirting, and he redshirted the last 2 years, and Spike kept getting hurt. Spike and him are pretty good friends, and Spike kept getting hurt, so they brought him off. But I got to tell you, I'm incredibly proud of him. The kid's going to graduate from Michigan. He's a captain. He's academic all Big Ten a couple years. Hopefully he gets a chance to play somewhere else next year as a 5th-year graduate transfer. And to be honest with you, I couldn't be more proud of him.
Kid who loves the game of basketball.
Yeah. They gave him a scholarship. The best decision we ever made as parents was getting him here to Michigan.
Big passing. Swanigan trying to hit Haas off of Isaac Haas.
Purdue people ask me all the time, Dave, why don't Haas and Swanigan play more together? And you saw it right there. Like Matt Painter told me a week or so ago, sometimes we can't even run offense in practice. They turn it over so much.
And it seems like it would be such a mismatch to have them both on the floor at the same time, but it hasn't always been so smooth. Haas, meanwhile, is having a hard time close to the basket.
Man, you know, these are the shots that he's been making. He's been averaging 18 over the last 4 games. He's been dynamite, but he's had great looks, just hasn't been able to get a thing to fall. Nice pass. Walton
didn't shoot it, instead gave it up. Simpson goes right by Swanigan and scores.
Well, Swanigan kind of just played on that possession. He didn't come out to compete, and Simpson, who has been playing much better of late, just blew right past him. He's big. Simpson is huge. If he can get going defensively, that's an added advantage because he's fastest guy in the team.
And Swanigan rushed that one. He is a very good three-point shooter, not just for a big guy, for any player. Wilson, you could say the same thing about him, no good.
I don't think they needed that shot. I think they needed to go right at Swanigan once again.
Carson Edwards, freshman for Purdue. Comes right back to Edwards, who shoots again. This time got the friendly roll. They're going to count the basket. They should, and then call a foul against Haas.
They've got to count this basket. They're tangled up, and you're going to get tangled up just by proxy with Haas here. You see the shot. Let's see it, left side underneath. I don't.
Well, they call one way, and now they call this one the other way.
Just put him in a cage.
Yeah, guys, in the last time out, John Beilein was telling Mo Wagner, don't try to win the physical battle versus Isaac Haas. Just use your quickness and your feet to draw him out.
You can't win that physical battle.
No, and that's, you know, that's right. The problem is that Haas makes you play physical, and you have to. engage him arm in arm, chest to chest, hip to hip.
Simpson, shot clock under 10. Wagner for three, got it.
Great play by Simpson. He drugged Swanigan because he made Swanigan believe he was turning the corner, and then he dropped it back to Wagner. Wagner huge so far.
So now the more conventional one big man lineup for Purdue. Swanigan will set a screen, then Wagner, quick hands, almost knocked it away. Bad pass. 3-on-2. Walton all the way. Good! Edwards will try it again, hits the three.
Oh. Carson Edwards, who people, Purdue fans complain about. Painter loves him. C.J. Walker, who's now at Florida State, committed to Purdue. He decommitted. Carson Edwards was recruited, and he's been fantastic. So is he.
12 points already for Mo Wagner. Now you might say, early on, he's got the best of Caleb Swanigan.
No question.
Which has not happened very often this year for any player. Swanigan a little out of control. That saved back into him. Edwards to the basket.
Wow, that was so quick. He flew by everybody and then had a slide around, chin on the rim, and finish. Carson Edwards putting on a little show here after that start.
He got a lot of good freshmen in this Big Ten Conference this year, and he's kind of got lost in the shuffle in a way because of that. Shouldn't be the case.
No, shouldn't be the case. He's been big time for Purdue.
Meanwhile, Derek Walton has stepped up his game as a senior.
You could make the argument the last 6 games in the Big Ten, Derek Walton's the MVP of the league.
Swanigan's going to win the Conference Player of the Year. That's a foul against Michigan, but Walton lately has been just as good.
It's been lights out. He grew sideburns.
That's the key, huh?
Sideburns are the key. Watch Mo here. Had a little visit with Dirk Nowitzki last week. Playing like Dirk Nowitzki.
Will Cinderella live for one more night? This is it.
8 seconds to go.
At the buzzer. He's got it! Oh my goodness!
These guys won't give up. We are almost there, starting on Wednesday. This is the Big Ten on ESPN, and a very big game leading into the Big Ten tournament, which will take place for the first time ever in Washington, D.C. this year. And maybe as wide open of a Big Ten tournament still to come as we could ever remember.
As we sit here right now, Michigan is beating Purdue by 7.
Yes.
Wisconsin just got their brains beat out.
Yes.
Who's the favorite?
I think
Minnesota?
Purdue is the favorite, but I mean, look, Michigan is buried in the middle of the pack. When they play well, they're as good as anybody in this league.
How about Minnesota? Going into Maryland and just beating.
And Minnesota's red hot. They've got a double-digit lead today at home against Penn State. I mean, Penn State's a team with the athleticism, a lot of youth and inexperience, but to scare one of the big boys. Mo Wagner, meanwhile, is just playing huge.
He's killing Swanigan.
Killing him.
Took him right, spun back left, little off balance, fished around, killing Swanigan.
He's got 14 with almost 7 minutes to go in the first half. Now there's that on that end.
Swanigan is killing Wagner.
These two are going to be going back and forth. And we've had some talking between the two of them as well.
Mo Wagner has come here with a pride to play against Player of the Year. You know, some guys might be nervous, some guys might be scared, whatever, not him. And Swanigan is going to take it. Swanigan is as competitive as you're ever going to see.
Walton got tripped. That's a foul against Purdue.
I haven't seen Swanigan say anything to Wagner, but I have seen Wagner say a lot to Swanigan. Here you go, take him right, spin back, no help, split him, knock it in on the other end. This is just, all right, son. You had your moment. Now I'm dunking on the entire state of Michigan. I'm just going to get a 3 here.
Walton going baseline. Yes, Swanigan's been helping off Wagner a good bit. He'll take another 3. That high arcing, beautiful soft touch. Man.
Every time he shoots now, he's running backwards knowing it's going in. That's feeling it.
Ten-point lead for the Wolverines. Thompson 3. Way short. Walton feeling it. Oh, man! Timeout, Purdue. Michigan with its biggest lead.
Welcome back to Ann Arbor. Michigan is up 33-20. Mo Wagner for Michigan with 17 points already in this first half, and he admitted his motivation for this game, saying, we know Purdue's playing for the conference title, and that gives us a sense of urgency to play spoiler. We can't let them get in the way of what we want to accomplish with the NCAA tournament, so he's very aware and honest about what is on the line, guys.
Thank you, Molly. He's just a fun kid to watch. He plays so hard. Sometimes he's physically overmatched. Sometimes he looks like a baby giraffe sort of stumbling around out there. But
sometimes he looks like a pro.
He really does. Haas just missing too many of those.
He's not solid in how he's jumping and releasing the ball. Everything is kind of soft. Wagner's got another one here at the final.
Wide open. Irvin didn't see him, and he lost it out of bounds. So that's a Michigan turnover. Yeah, I'm with you. Tonight on ESPN, Big 12, Pac-12 first. Kansas against Texas. Can the Longhorns pull off the upset against another Player of the Year favorite, Frank Mason? Then 8:15, top 5 matchup in the Pac-12. UCLA in Tucson against Arizona. Isaac Haas, there's a lid on the bucket for him. He's shooting from close range.
I think Walton wanted to jack that one. You're going to get a shot here for Wagner, top of the key.
He was open again. Meanwhile, Abdur Rahman, Walton got fouled by Thompson.
You know what I like about Walton in this game? He's leading. He's playing really hard. He's been doing that for about 6 games. But I'll tell you what, he is rebounding. He is really active, leaving his man on the defensive backboard, sprinting to the backboard, getting the rebound, pushing it down, and they're going to the offensive glass. He got fouled.
Irvin out dunking Robinson in. Michigan's not as deep as Purdue is. Robinson's been their most consistent player off the bench. Wagner, little pass fake, so he found another opening. My goodness. He hasn't even played 16 minutes. He's got 20.
He just gave me a wink. He was in the stands, looked at me, and started winking. Oh, he's a fun kid.
Big game, big personality. Ryan Klein quiets the crowd for a moment.
Big time shot. Ryan Klein curled it into the middle of the lane and had Robinson on his back. Took an extra dribble. Great play. Duncan, Klein. Got to get it back to Wagner. There you go.
Yeah, another one. Now, I don't know how that didn't go down.
I don't either. I'd go back to Haas. I know he's missing, but man, is he getting good position? You got to do something to wear out Wagner a little bit.
Wagner's trying to hold his own down there.
Toughest shot he's had.
Toughest shot all game, and he made it.
Only shot where he hasn't been on balance, and he knocked it in. I wouldn't stop if I was Purdue. I'd keep going down there. That's just automatic good look.
2 for 7. Big Isaac Haas, maybe the most physically imposing player in the country.
In the world. Well, no.
Size 22s.
He's a nice kid, too.
Here's Wagner. Went up for the dunk and had it partially blocked. Hit the floor and can't believe there was no foul. Neither can his coach.
I thought he got fouled here, too. Mo Wagner to the rim with enthusiasm. You see the angst.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Liberty stands with you.
All right, John, thank you. Maybe Malik Monk's going to make his way into that Player of the Year conversation before the regular season is over. He had a huge game today for Kentucky. Not as big as that kid so far, though. Wow. Mo Wagner and Michigan. Meanwhile, our Saturday NBA primetime game tonight presented by Verizon Wireless on ABC. It's the Bulls. It's the Cavs. Jimmy Butler still in Chicago, 8:30 Eastern.
Word on the street, LeBron James will run into the weather may not play. Maybe.
Dan's got a lot of friends. Feeding info. Wilson down low. Wagner catch and score.
That was really nice out of the timeout. The two bigs went ball screen for each other, and Wagner just blasted down the lane, and Klein no shot. For Purdue, I've got to go to Swanigan here and play through him.
Swanigan back in the game. Good look from Klein down low. Edwards scores.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. And the reason it was nice is because two guys, Matthias and Klein, sprinted in their cuts. I mean, they were flying off of screens, which drew the defender on the screener and made Edwards available.
Abdur Rahman, the defense just sort of went away.
Swanigan is really struggling defensively. I mean, he has not played a good defensive game at all.
See if he can make up for it on this end of the floor. Catch and shoot from Klein off to the side. Here comes Michigan. Well, Rahman was open. Now had nowhere to go with the ball.
Yeah, they don't need to do that if you're Michigan. If you're Michigan, just keep the ball moving, getting your sets, you're getting something good. If you're Purdue, you've got to stuff it right now inside. They missed Swanigan.
Yeah, he had position against Wagner. Good double team from Walton, but that left Albrecht wide open. Missed the three.
I don't think he and his parents wanted that one to go down, huh?
Big time. He's made a lot on this floor. Walton.
Matt Painter wants a push-off. Derek Walton took the smaller Spike Albrecht down to the right block and just lifted up. Matt Painter and staff think Walton's pushed off third time now.
Well, for all the talk, and rightfully so, for Wagner, Walton's having a huge first half himself.
Look at that.
He came down to help against Swanigan. Travel.
Man, tell you what, Michigan's playing spirited. All right, let's take a look. You don't get this very often. Big on big ball screen, and then the other guy's going to dive. So here we go. Ball screen, dive, floor is spread. Wagner catches it. Absolutely no chance for Klein because he came over late. You don't get that, the 4 and 5 man being able to play out of ball screens very often, but with Wilson and Wagner, you can.
Well, Wagner will take a rest for the moment. Final minute plus of this first half. Michigan playing so well. Walton with the nifty dribbling. There was better defense from Swanigan. Grinnell hustled, but Purdue comes away with it. Matthias dribbled into the two. Yes.
He's so good. I tell you what, he has changed his body. Spike Albrecht has really helped Dakota Matthias, according to the Purdue staff. Just enjoy basketball, understand that you can make mistakes, and Matthias has emerged as one of the outstanding players in the Big Ten. It's really good. Here comes
Matthias went for the steal, almost got it. Now he pokes it away from behind with the run out. What a play defensively.
I'm in arguments with people in Wisconsin and some of our own guys about who the defensive player of the year is in the Big Ten. I'll take Dakota Matthias. I think he's the best defender, inside, outside, perimeter, whatever, in the league. He's been tremendous. Watch this. Little Bobby Weiss. You don't remember Bobby Weiss. Bobby Weiss played with the Bulls. He was famous for going down.
That's a good memory refresher. So that's 1 week from tonight. Next Saturday, Duke, Carolina, two teams that look like each of them could win the national championship the way they've been playing lately, even with Duke's loss the other night.
How about the bang three by, what was his name, Gillen?
Yep.
That was awesome.
At the Dome.
I talked to Jim Boeheim the next day, and, you know, it's funny. Obviously, it wasn't a play, right? It's not a play. But if you go to shoot-arounds, I go to shoot-arounds. Kids practice those shots every day. You know what I mean? That's not a luck. It's a luck thing, you banked it in. But it's not a luck thing because they shoot them. They in practice with those kind of shots.
And it paid off. Wagner back in for the final seconds. Here's Walton. Fouled on the floor. And they had one to give. So that was a very smart foul by Purdue because that was looking like a bucket for Michigan.
Well, the C's parted. And as you said, Spike Albrecht got back into the play against Walton and fouled him.
Checking in for the Boilermakers.
Be very careful here. Watch Zach Irvin getting the shot here from out of bounds.
He's the passer. Robinson catch and shoot. Good!
Came all the way from the left off of a triple screen, falling out of bounds. Oh, man. Comes off two. Going away from the basket. Great defense. Kick the right leg up.
Yeah, it's pretty nifty. John Beeline's got to be happy, huh, Molly?
Yeah, that's right, Coach. Mo Wagner, just dominant in this first half. What's he doing well?
You know, he's got a nice blend of inside and outside because he can drive the ball and finish, and he's really got a good outside shot. So they play tremendous defense. So he's been fortunate enough to knock some down. He's going to have to do it in the second half. Purdue won't go away.
What do you need to do defensively against their bigs in the second half?
Just continue to make sure that they don't have easy catches in the post. Just continue to swarm them. Make sure they feel people around him. Can't let them dribble down and just, take our guys one-on-one. But the big thing is they're a great three-point shooting team. You have to stop the inside game and the outside game at the same time. That's really hard.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Thanks to Coach Beeline and to Molly. Interesting stuff there. What a half for Mo Wagner and the Michigan Wolverines. They lead by 15 over Purdue. John Brickley, Dallin Cuff in studio. Kessler Center in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We get ready to start the second half. The Wolverines with a 45-30 lead over the red-hot Purdue Boilermakers. And Purdue's got some work to do. Look who's here. Gene Cady, one of the greats. And I guess Gene, was the first half that boring for Purdue?
He falls asleep when you don't guard anybody. And he sat there and watched Purdue give up 66% shooting, and he's not having it. He would either yell or fall asleep, one of the two. I think he's falling asleep.
And now one thing for Cady's Purdue Boilermakers, they've been in this spot before. I mean, they have been a good come-from-behind team. What do they need to do better?
Well, number one, they've got to keep the ball in front of them. They have done a terrible job of just guarding your own. Like when the high ball screen comes, you've got to get over the top and let Swanigan get back to Mo Wagner because he's late getting back to Wagner, and Wagner has hit a couple and he's driven it. Keeping the guy in front of you, and I wouldn't, if I was Purdue, I'd pick up a little bit and put a little pressure, make Michigan a little bit more uncomfortable with some pressure.
Let's check in with Molly McGrath. Molly?
Well, Matt Painter was talking just about that, the importance of slowing down Mo Wagner. He's credited some breakdowns on defense to some of their issues in the first half. So he said they're going to switch on defense a little more in this second half. And his message to his bigs is keep shooting, slow down. He said Isaac Haas had some good shots. He just missed them. He wants them to keep putting them up, guys.
Hey, Molly is absolutely right. Isaac Haas has had great looks. And switching is a really, really good thing because, you know what, even though there's a mismatch maybe, you still got to find a mismatch and you don't give up angles because Zach Irvin, Abdul Rahman, and Derek Walton are great at exploiting angles.
And all that stuff that we talked about, Purdue also only made 2 threes. They're the 5th best three-point shooting team in the country. And that's 66% numbers for Michigan. When they play well and make shots, they look really good, and they have looked good today.
You said it. Michigan's as good as anybody. Their high ceiling is really, really high. I mean, it just is. Their low ceiling is too. They played some dog games, but when they're playing well, it's a high ceiling for Michigan.
So Purdue has the ball for the first time in the second half. Swanigan right away gets a touchdown low and gets an early bucket.
That has to be what Purdue does every time, not what Purdue does occasionally. Try to watch off the ball. Other than maybe P.J. Thompson, everything else is a switch for Purdue in the first possession. Even right there, D.J. Wilson guarded by Ryan Klein.
Now it's Irvin and Swanigan. Wagner trying to pick up where he left off. He comes up way short.
Way slow, too. Purdue is playing harder in this first minute and a half. Quicker, sharper than what Michigan is. Very slow-cutting Michigan team so far.
Michigan probably didn't want to go in the locker room. I mean, they were playing so well. You don't want that first half to end.
You couldn't be more right about that.
Edwards down the lane. Vincent Edwards draws a foul. I mentioned how Purdue has been a come-from-behind team. And they've done it a bunch of times this year. Trailed by 17 on a neutral court against Notre Dame and won that game. At Maryland, that's a tough place. Those are some pretty significant comebacks, including very recently.
Well, let's talk about why. And why is exactly what you were saying. They're a terrific three-point shooting team, which obviously 3 possessions, 3 threes, now a 9-point run. But when things get stagnant from the 3, in a comeback, they can throw it to that guy right there, and he can go get your bucket. So I guarantee you, the first thing said in the locker room by John Beilein and his staff is, look, the game is just starting. You know, you go in the locker room and you're up, you tell your team, all right, how would you play if you were Purdue in the second half? How would you play if you were down 15? You play desperate, you play hard. But that's exactly what you're going to face out of Purdue, and they've already cut into the lead.
And isn't it funny? Already you can sense some nervous energy in the building. It's just a couple baskets, just 4 points. But the feeling changes a little bit.
Look at nothing going.
Walton against Swanigan, who so far is playing really good defense. That was impressive. Wagner got his hands on the ball, though. Purdue wins this game. I mean, they're already in the driver's seat. They win this game. This is a huge step towards an outright Big Ten championship. Michigan, if they win this game, does that lock up a spot in the tournament? I would think it would.
Absolutely. I believe it has. You're talking about 5-year last 6. Beat Wisconsin, who's in the top 20. Going to beat Purdue, who's in the top 20.
Vincent Edwards looking a little more aggressive, but he lost the ball. Irvin out to Abdur Rahman. He got fouled.
Obviously, that's transition. One pass, throw ahead. But that's the hardest that Michigan has ran. And Michigan played in the first half without letting the ball stop. Everybody running, push the ball ahead. Fine. That's in broken floor transition. But what Michigan has to do is take that, even when it's 5-on-5, run that hard and just keep the ball alive. We've seen the ball dead here for 2.5 minutes for Michigan.
Amazing how few free throws have been shot on both sides.
Well, Michigan doesn't foul, and Purdue will foul, but Michigan's knocking in all their shots. You think Michigan's in with a win?
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a great chance to be in no matter what.
Yeah.
The advanced metrics, the computers, they really like this Wolverines team. The lack of road wins would be the one thing that would stand out on their resume in a negative sense. Swanigan double team came, and he lost it out of bounds.
That was so good by 2 guys. Wagner got his hands in, didn't give ground, and then all of a sudden, bam, Abdur Rahman came at the exact right time. Oh, this was so good. Watch. Now look at Rahman. He comes. And he's just digging in right on the basketball. That is great defense by a guard and a big.
Wagner, who had 22 in the first half. One shy of his career high in the first 20 minutes. Walton played really well, too. Wilson.
Oh, man.
He's an athlete.
My wife said at half, Michigan's going to win. They better get DJ Wilson going. That's a good way to get him going. A little double pumper on the baseline.
Yeah, for as quiet as he was statistically, I thought he did some good things in that first half.
He played defense. He was in position. He jammed up the lane.
Swanigan. Wagner, those quick hands again. And a foul against Swanigan.
I've not seen a kid play better two-way basketball than this. Look at those hands. He's playing against the Player of the Year leader. And he had 22, as you just said, at half, and he's getting in a stance. He's banging Swanigan. He's banging Haas. He's knocking the ball away. I'm telling you, for a two-way game, you're not going to see it done any better.
Mo Wagner, just a sophomore, native of Berlin. And a name to remember. Kid can play.
Really play. And he's enthusiastic. Everything he does, he's enthusiastic, fun.
Here's Walton, the crossover move. Too strong on the three. Wagner was in there again.
The switching by Purdue has really hurt Michigan. They don't care who they've switched. We've had Thompson on Wagner.
Now Wagner's going to be called for the foul, which will send us to a timeout. The Wolverines and Mo Wagner, a little foul trouble. That could impact this game. Up by 15.
It is coming up, and there are a lot of great candidates. This guy right here has been sensational. You just never see anybody averaging 20. Josh Hart, he is as good an all-around player as there is. This guy playing in this game right now, Caleb Swanigan is struggling, but there hasn't been a more consistent guy, whether it's inside or outside, and the most dynamic player in the country is Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball has led an absolute resurgence. You can see him tonight in a rematch at Arizona. Lonzo Ball has been great for Steve Alford and the UCLA Bruins.
Well, you and I were there early this year at Pauley Pavilion, where these Michigan Wolverines took on the Bruins of UCLA. Matthias missed the layup, but saved it in bounds. Michigan played about as well as they are playing today, and UCLA beat them by double figures.
Yeah, they were in the game for half. It was tied at half, and next thing you know, Lonzo Ball started finding folks. Bryce Alford started knocking in shots, and it was over.
Swanigan, usually he would shoot that, I think. He traveled.
I think that Caleb Swanigan is sped up here a little bit. I think he's just a little bit shook by what's going on from Mo Wagner. He's not used to guys coming right at him and being successful. He's used to guys coming at him. But the success rate against Caleb Swanigan hasn't been very high.
Purdue's played 28 games. Swanigan's had 23 double-doubles. He's led his team in rebounding every single game of the year.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you name it, what do you want done, he'll do it. He passed on 2 double teams against Penn State, won him the game.
Here's Irvin. He's been quiet on his senior day. Not quiet there.
Zach Irvin has been quiet because the guy guarding him, Dakota Matthias, is a great defender, but that time he was patient, got the ball twice, second time knocked it in.
Here's Haas. He missed a lot of those in the first half. They need those shots to go.
Much quicker and much more solid. He came apart early in the first half, meaning he didn't lift, follow through. He lifted a little and followed through a little bit. You know, it's interesting, Mo Wagner told Mark Donnell, yelled at him that you got to take away his left shoulder.
Here's Donnell on the offensive end, had it stripped out of bounds.
Michigan basketball.
Well, tonight on ESPN, first Big 12. You were talking about Frank Mason, what a great year he's had. Number 3 Kansas on the road against Texas at 6 Eastern on ESPN. And then Lonzo Ball, UCLA, Arizona. Remember the Wildcats couldn't have played better at Pauley, beat UCLA on the road. Now they'll try to do it at home.
Who you like?
I like UCLA in that game.
You do?
I like
on
them to return the favor, as hard as it is to win at McHale, and it is.
You know, UCLA got beat by USC early, came back, beat them by 35.
Look,
there's no pride there.
Still a long way to go. Injuries, seeding, matchups, brackets, all that stuff. If you ask me today, though, UCLA is my favorite to win it all.
Over North Carolina.
Over the Tar Heels.
Over everybody, apparently, because they're your favorite.
That's true. Good logic by you. Edwards. Haas got position. Man.
Hey, Mark Donnell is big. Like, Mark Donnell's brother plays for the Rams. The whole family's big. The dad's big. His mother played volleyball at Bowling Green. And, I mean, he's strong and he's willing, but honest to goodness, there's just no match for this mountain.
Yeah, he looks like a little kid next to Isaac Haas. Edwards dribbled into trouble. Haas doesn't shoot a lot of jumpers, but he does do that a lot.
He does do that very well, too. He has great hands and real quick turn. Like, he'll screen, boom, and make himself available. Being as big as he is, not that easy.
This game's not over.
I don't like the offense of Michigan at all. I think everybody's standing around. There's not sprinting in their cuts, changing direction.
And Wagner with the 3 fouls on the bench. The offense doesn't look the same without him on the floor.
This is the guy right here. If they're slowing down, he's got to go make something happen.
He's going to try to go by Haas. Walton got it off in time, but missed the shot.
Well, pretty good offense. Just a little shot fake, put P.J. Thompson away. Got good look, missed it.
There goes Edwards, turned on the Jets.
Telling you, put Haas in a situation. It's pretty good little kind of ball screen. Look how he opened up so easy. That's just not, this is like size 97 feet. At like 6'20", 299 pounds. And he just opens up, catches, dunks. It's not easy.
He got close on the weight.
A little bit. Look at that. Right now he's open again. If you throw it to him, he's going to catch it.
7'2", size 22s. Mark Donnell is just, I mean, you said it. There's just nothing he can do. And Haas is starting to feel a lot more confident.
John Teskey has played some. He's a big, strong kid. So you may see him. DJ Wilson's going to come in and take a shot at Haas.
DJ's thinking, oh, thanks, coach. Well, the thing about Purdue, Swanigan struggling. Okay, now you got Haas. One dribble right over Wilson, but missed it. Edwards, good offensive rebound, missed the putback. Hard to get two better looks than that for Purdue.
And that's what Matt Painter told Molly at halftime. Look, we're getting good looks. That was two, right on the rim.
Wilson, I thought he had a shot attempt. Instead, he found Irvin. Haas rebound.
Good looks.
Edwards missed another layup. That's a theme today. Vincent Edwards.
That's what I'm talking about. Dave, when you just keep the ball going, like Edwards didn't stop and set it up, not Vincent, but Carson, he just sprinted it, then loosens the defense and avails for offensive rebounding.
P.J. Wilson a little hesitant to shoot with a foul. And they didn't call. I thought they blew the whistle. I heard a whistle. But he scores, so count the basket, no foul. I was sure that a whistle had blown.
I was with you.
Carson Edwards.
Walton's so good at.
And a great pass from Walton.
Walton's a one-man rebound. He gets it, and he's gone, and he sets up teammates. Live or die, that's a good look for Michigan.
He's got double-figure rebounds in this game. On his way to a double-double. First half looked like maybe a triple-double. P.J. Thompson.
I talk about it all the time. There are guys good enough to get you fired. Like, they have good stats. P.J. Thompson is the kind of guy that you just win with. I mean, he is remarkable in how good he fits in when he decides to make plays. Well, the world's biggest human being right there, Isaac Haas, who is a great kid, just an awesome kid. Look at the feet on him compared to our camera guy, Josh. I mean, that's 22s against like nothing. Josh sitting there going, man, I got big feet. Well, Haas has fins.
All right, John, thanks. Baylor, a team that is struggling down the stretch after reaching the highest heights. It's that time of year. You know, conference play, deep into conference play, teams figure each other out, make adjustments. This is the first matchup between these two this year. Nice look. Wilson finishes.
Great out of bounds play. Abdul Rahman got the ball, drove it in the middle. Carson Edwards had position, but for some reason, Swanigan went over and doubled, leaving Wilson.
Swanigan has not had a great defensive game.
No, not at all.
He's also turned it over 5 times on offense. That time he comes up way short. Simpson, the freshman, has got a lot of speed. Can be out of control at times.
You know, that was Ricky Green style back in the 70s. Just put your head down, go as fast as you can possibly go and get an offense.
You're keeping it current with all your references today.
Yeah, 75, 76 Ricky Green.
Abdul Rahman.
He's key. 14 each time out. Really struggled before that. Michigan had as well. When he plays well offensively, they've got it all going.
Double team came from Duncan Robinson. Well done. Klein passed up the shot.
Boy, was that good by Rockman, running Klein off the three-point line.
Edwards three. No.
That was great defense by Michigan out of the double. They ran the shooter off the three-point line. Robinson found the next.
And Purdue was slow to get back. Michigan made him pay. Wow. Biggest lead for Michigan, taking it to the hottest team in the Big Ten. It's by 18. Dan Dockich teaches some basketball.
Absolute great defense. Watch here. Here comes a double. There it is. Now, on the backside, everybody's going to get into position. Watch out of the double. We're going to freeze it right here. He's going to run Klein off. Robinson's going to come out. This is as good as you can do out of the double. The shooter gets run off the three-point line. Robinson comes back. It is really, really good defense.
When Michigan plays good defense, they're one of the most efficient offensive teams in the country. Good things happen for the Wolverines.
Yeah, and Robinson did it because he was active and alert. He didn't just stand and think, all right, I've done my job. There's always something else to do.
Edwards missed the shot and now commits a foul. Maybe some frustration starting to settle in for Purdue.
Totally agree. They've had the ball on the rim, but Michigan's doing a really good job of fighting the man when they get the ball in the post. And Dave, by that I mean they're not backing up just because it's getting physical. Purdue's physicality isn't knocking Michigan off their spot. They're using their chest, holding their position, making it tough.
Now, how many shots from 5 feet and in has Purdue missed in this game? A lot.
And that's what Matt told Molly at halftime.
It'd be a totally different game if those shots had gone down. DJ Wilson, they left him wide open.
It was unbelievable what a good play Xavier Simpson made, drawing the defender off of Wilson.
That's a freshman learning John Beilein offense.
No doubt.
Swanigan, spin move, nicely done.
Yeah, and they might want to do that. Usually Swanigan sets a ball screen at the top of the key. Michigan has done a good job with that. That time it was a side ball screen, which forced help coming from a little bit farther.
That stopped a 10-0 run just when it looked like Purdue was right back in the game. Robinson for three, got another one. Michigan's made 10 threes. Purdue, one of the best outside shooting teams in the country. They've made 2. Edwards makes it 3.
Just hasn't been anything there. You know you're playing good defense when you jam up the lane, yet contest shots. We showed you that off the post double. Michigan's been great at it.
Tell you what, if Xavier Simpson is going to play this well, Michigan's a better team.
Kid looks confident.
He really, really does.
This kid, Xavier Simpson, did a nice job here. Ball screen. He keeps going. He keeps going. He drags Swanigan. Wide open look, staring straight at him for DJ Wilson.
That's what I like about you.
Wolverines of Michigan are making it a senior day to remember for Zach Irvin, who has climbed up the charts. Statistical leaders in the history of this program. So is that kid, Derek Walton Jr. has been such a great player for the Wolverines. Mark Donnell, and yeah, our own Andrew Dockich, who is in a Michigan uniform for the final time at number 11. I asked John Beilein, Dan, before the game about, specifically, everybody talks about Andrew in glowing terms, what a great leader he's been, what a great teammate he's been. But John went into detail about, as a part of the scout team, what a good passer he is with both hands, what a good ball handler he is, how he can get in it. He challenges Walton and Simpson and company and makes them better players every day.
Well, that's obviously great for a dad to hear. And I've always said this, when he came to Michigan, the only thing I told him was he'll be the best teammate you have. That's it. He'll graduate, and he'll be the best teammate you have. He's going to screw up, and he's not going to, be the best player you have, but he's going to be the best teammate. And, from all accounts, he's been pretty good.
I can't remember a head coach who scouts walk-ons the way that John Beilein does. I mean, he's looking for specific traits, skills to work on certain stuff in practice to get his starters ready.
This is going to sound weird, but this is something that college coaches ought to pay attention to. They had a kid named Josh Bartelstein. When they went to the championship game, Josh Bartelstein was a senior. Josh Bartelstein was a great leader. And when we came on our visit, Josh was there, and they went through exactly what the expectations were for a walk-on. And they went through exactly how much you're not going to play, you are going to play, chance to play. They couldn't have been more honest, and Josh Bartelstein was a great role model as a walk-on. And I hope Andrew is a great role model for the next walk-on.
And Sean Lonergan, who also has been a walk-on with Andrew.
Fantastic. He's here because of Spike Albrecht. Spike and Sean Lonergan were playing together in Indianapolis in the summer, and next thing you know, Spike called up Coach Beeline and said, "Man, this dude's pretty good."
Wilson, that was nifty, but then he just missed the shot.
He was just over Carson Edwards. That's all. Big possession here.
Klein for three. Too strong. And Michigan just lost it out of bounds. Well, tonight after BYU and #1 Gonzaga, can the Zags keep it rolling? Sports Center at night, Coach and Max will be together. All kinds of stuff to talk about with lots in college hoops sort of leading the way. Mo Wagner's going to get some highlight time. Sports Center at night after the Zags and BYU.
The Zags won by 58.
They did. They did. They're not really getting challenged much.
Do you think the Zags would be the Big Ten champs?
This year, yeah, they might be. You know, the more you watch the Big Ten with some of the top teams, and Purdue's been really consistently good, but Wisconsin stumbled a little bit. Maryland stumbled a little bit.
Wisconsin was off.
A couple weeks ago, you asked me that, I would have said no. Now, maybe the Zags would have won the Big Ten this year.
I'm starting to agree with you. I feel like the Zags are Purdue. The two big inside guys, one really big, the other's really skilled. Maybe more athletic on the perimeter than Purdue. But
I think it's a good match. Purdue-Gonzaga is a good match.
Yeah.
Irvin.
No, not even close.
Well, did Swanigan touch it? Apparently not. Out of bounds.
No, Swanigan stayed down in a stance and really contested the shot. What is happening is, on the switch, Purdue's guys are seeing blood in the water when they see Swanigan, but you can't try to shoot over him. You got to go around him.
Wagner, who had 22 in the first half, has not scored in the second half. Michigan hasn't needed him. Purdue needs that guy.
Great adjustment by Coach Painter. He brought Swanigan up to set the ball screen. Pop. He isolated Edwards on the block against Robinson, where Edwards is far stronger, and Edwards just dominated Robinson, who really isn't used to playing post defense.
Swanigan. Robinson goes to the bench with some words from John Beeline. Vincent Edwards got his own cool story, I think. The guy was benched early this year, wasn't playing very well, could have sulked. I mean, he's an experienced guy. He's played a lot of good basketball for Purdue. Totally went the opposite way. Picked up his game, his effort, everything.
His buy-in in the state of Indiana, I'm going to use two state schools, is completely different than what Indiana University's players' buy-in is. Like, he has accepted, and not accepted, but he's like, all right, coach, I'm going to show you with my play, not show you with my sulk. Like, adult males should never sulk.
Wagner missed the three.
Never. There's the sulking should never be in the lexicon.
Well, feeling sorry for yourself at this level is not a formula for success. And meanwhile, a chance for 2 3-point plays in a row. The lead is down to 12 with Swanigan at the line.
Hey, Matt Painter isn't going to be Coach of the Year in the Big Ten for nothing. He recognized, let's put Edwards on the block and let's roll this time. Swanigan with a double cane. Pretty good adjustment by Coach Painter.
He got the friendly roll, so the lead is down to 11, 13-2 Purdue run. Maybe an advantage, but Michigan is not looking to attack.
I think the first half they would have. Good timeout by John Beal.
Timeout, Michigan.
Who's not real happy with those last couple of minutes.
No, he's unhappy with the defense. He went right at DJ Wilson defensively. There was no recognition last possession of Swanigan diving down the block. You know, one thing about Coach Beeline is you don't see him demonstrative. He's more like, you know, the high school teacher. But I'll tell you what, he gets after you hard with very specific wording. He's not a guy to just kind of like maybe I am that throws out a lot of words, hope a few stick. Very specific.
Well, it's been an up and down year for Michigan, and Coach Beeline acknowledges that. 18-10. 8-7 in conference play. The computers, the metrics really like the Wolverines. And if you believe this stuff that the committee's looking at different numbers than just the RPI, I think that helps Michigan. Joe Lunardi's got them projected as a number 9 seed as of now. They win this game, I think that's going up a little bit.
I do too.
In a good way.
Yeah, I do too. That 8-9 game, you want to get in the tournament, but the 8-9 game is a bad game. But the thing that is the negative is their road wins.
Got 2 of them.
That's it. And his last 2, one at Indiana, one at Rutgers.
I mean, they had none for a long while. They had some neutral court wins. That was a very dangerous pass. Irvin switch to the left hand. There's Wagner.
What a great play by Mo Wagner. He was out wide. And instead of standing, people don't stand in basketball. The drive was made. Irvin uncomfortable. Wagner finished it up.
That was a big bucket. Thompson answers.
Winning guy.
P.J. Thompson.
Dad's a hell of a player. LaSalle Thompson, younger brother's a great player. Isaiah Thompson, just a basketball family.
3-on-2 Wilson. Michigan's going to work some clock. 6th slowest pace of any offensive team in the country, the Wolverines.
But the most effective offense in the Big Ten.
In the Big Ten, one of the most efficient in the country. Walton got fouled and tapped the basket. That's some senior strength.
You and I have been moaning and groaning all year about the lack of an and one.
Somebody listen.
Listen to Dan and Dave or Dave and Dan. Good things happen.
We had a line change in studio. Andy's in. And an important update. Great day of college hoops, sort of wall to wall. 72-59, Michigan playing one of their best games of the year. Derek Walton Jr., the senior, he has played a lot of games on this floor. And this is going to be his last one, going out with a bang. Carson Edwards heaves one up, it goes.
He's just dangerous enough to get Purdue right back in. 11-point lead, 3:40. We got time.
Purdue does not go away. It's a good quality to have when you get toward March conference tournament, NCAA tournament. Purdue is not going to be out of the game.
No. They can shoot it, and that goes awry, and you get spread, you throw it inside, you can get 3-point play from 2 guys, 3 guys in there with Edwards.
Rockman had it stripped away. And a good lead pass. Can Thompson track it down? Yes. Missed the layup. Swanigan couldn't finish. Huge moment there.
You know what he did? Put too much spin on it. He was there and he spun it thinking he was going to be a little more outside, and then Swanigan couldn't get the finish. Huge.
I would have cut it to single digits. It has not been single digits in a long while. Walton, stutter step, no. Here come the Boilermakers. Edwards pulls up, the freshman's feeling it.
Just dangerous enough. He can get his own shot. Look at this, pass fake, high throw, high turnover. Edwards dying for it on the right wing, left wing.
Now if Purdue scores here, Michigan starts to think about it a little bit, I think. Edwards, yes! And a timeout, John Beeline. This is a 6-point game.
Carson Edwards is dangerous, and he is fearless. And once he gets going, he's one of those guys that isn't going to miss. Man, great, as you said, energy by Purdue. This Vince Edwards with the last bucket just going over the top, but now you got the post isolated because this kid right here is going off. It's just a freshman, Dave. Remember he hit the 2 free throws to beat Maryland at Maryland? He's not afraid.
basically no time on the clock, down by a point, made them both to win the game on the road against the Terps. And here on a day, Dan, where he got put on the bench. Now, was there a huge message involved? No, he's a freshman who's been struggling for a few games. But Ryan Klein got the start. Edwards went to the bench. He had responded.
Again, there's never a good time to sulk. He didn't sulk. He's played harder. He learned. Here he goes. And he's got Purdue in a position to make this really, really interesting.
The pressure has bugged Michigan.
They got to the right guy. Last 2 times it was the DJ Wilson. He pass faked high, brought the hands up, then he threw it high. You can't do that.
22, the biggest lead for Michigan in the second half. Shot clock down to 5. Walton pinned. Can he get one off? Yes. And he hits it. So they're going to check.
Official timeout. Previous play is under further review.
Was it a 2? Was it a 3?
Legendary director Bart Fox tells us a 3. There's the step through. Clearly a 3. Let's go play.
I mean, Bart's our producer, but you can still pump him up.
Oh, he's great. It's the best ever.
Did he get the shot off? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Was it a 3?
Yes.
That is a senior day moment for Derek Walton.
You know what makes it crazy? You know what makes it crazy if you're Matt Painter?
Great defense, did everything right.
Except,
what?
Why let him get around you? Don't go for the fake. Stay, you know, you learn it in 5th grade, 4th grade. Stay between your man and the basket. It's amazing what happens. I've seen it for 20 years. Amazing what happens in Big Ten games on Saturdays in front of the home crowd. What the home team does. Throws in shots like that for basically the win.
If that's a shot clock violation or a missed shot, how nervous is everybody in this building?
Well, you know, you're almost better taking a violation, so they got to take it out. You know, long rebound, next thing you know, they're laying it in the other end.
Vincent Edwards, in and out, no good. Wilson had to go out of bounds, but he was fouled.
How about Edwards gets a great look, in and out. Walton, shot fakes, lean in, double pump 3, goes in. You think basketball isn't a game of makes and misses?
And that last one could be the make that essentially locks Michigan into another tournament berth. And, you know, that sounds, this is a proud program. They've won a national championship. They've been to Final Fours. But considering the way things were going at the start of conference play, a team that was beat up and a little beleaguered, I think the Wolverines can be pretty proud about that.
2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, they played Ohio State in here and lost. And it was the dullest basketball game I ever was. In fact, I was in an airplane. Ever. Like, in being the Big Ten. I mean, dullest Big Ten game, I think, I'll put it that way, I've ever seen. Like, no energy, they lose, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're blowing out Michigan State. They're playing great here. I mean, they beat Indiana, win at Rutgers, losing overtime. Totally different deal, and I credit Derek Walton, Zach Irvin, and the senior class for keeping this alive, and certainly Mo Wagner for the way he's played. But this kid right here, Derek Walton's been unbelievable. I'm telling you, MVP of the league last 6 games.
If they made their free throws at Minnesota, and that's a game they lost in overtime. They make their free throws, they might have won that one too. Robinson got the block. Purdue still has it. Swanigan needs to launch. Good hustle by Edwards, but right to Abdur-Rahman, who gets fouled. Michigan's getting ready to put this game away. Well, Irvin's going to come back in. I wonder if this is John Beilein just sort of setting the stage for the seniors coming out to get the big ovation. Well, maybe there's some strategy involved.
Yeah, you know, as a coach, 11 points, minute 14, you're thinking, I'll take the seniors out with about 10 seconds to go.
First free throw good tonight on ESPN. First in the Big 12, 6 Eastern. Kansas in Austin to take on the Longhorns. See if Texas can pull off the upset. Then at 8:15, that's the headliner Saturday primetime, presented by AT&T. UCLA at McHale.
I'm with you. I'll take UCLA in that. I think there's a lot of pride there right now. I think the win over USC, coming back from the loss, showed that.
Plus, Lonzo Ball's dad thinks he's better than Steph Curry. So if you got Curry on your team, you got to win, right?
You got a guy better than Steph Curry. You better win every game in college right now, right? No doubt.
Here comes the love for the seniors.
Should be, too. They have earned it. They've kept this season together, and they've played really, really well, particularly that kid. Can't say enough about what that kid has done with his play, Derek Walton.
Fast forward, think ahead. NCAA tournament. Wolverines, I think now almost assuredly are going to be a part of it. This guy, end of game, shooting free throws, close games, that's a weapon.
That's a big-time weapon, over 90%.
Now the other senior walk-on, who's not redshirting. Sean Lonergan gets a chance to play.
One of the nicest, best kids you will ever meet. Fishers High School, Fishers, Indiana. Played against Zach Irvin, big-time competitors with one another.
Michigan foul is to number 5, and DJ Wilson. That's his first personal foul.
You know, one of the things as a walk-on you hope for? You hope that they call a foul down here. You want a little more time on the court, maybe get a shot or two up.
Maybe the announcers talk about you a little bit, start to say some nice things.
I said earlier, Sean was just playing at the field house in Fishers, Indiana with Spike Albrecht, and Spike made the phone call to Coach Beeline and said, hey, if we need a walk-on, this kid's just going to Indiana just to be a student. And they brought him on campus, family fell in love, here he is, going to get a degree.
The story sort of goes, Spike just kind of casually tossed a lob. No one's looking at Sean thinking, well, this is the player. And he dunks over a couple of people, and Albrecht is like, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What a performance by the Wolverines.
And, you know, from start to finish, really. I mean, they came out, Purdue playing for a Big Ten title, everything to play for. No chance today.
Wisconsin's happy about this result.
Sets up a great week, and that's what you want as a coach. You know, as a coach, you want to play for the conference title down the stretch last week, and that's exactly what Purdue's going to be able to do, and we'll have a Tuesday night.
So now the timeout. Does that mean that John Beeline's going to get those seniors out of the game? He's trying to get the details right.
There's Mark Donnell, as I said earlier, Mark's brother, starting right guard of the Los Angeles Rams. You know, I saw Andrew, Mark Donnell's brother, at a reception before the game, and you think NFL football players are big, and then you see NFL football players, and you imagine them angry, hitting you.
I'll stick to hoops.
Yeah, I'll stick to right here. Just to goodness.
Well, Mark's another kid who's given a lot to this Michigan program, and even in this year where his role, with the improvement of Wagner, improvement of Wilson, his role's been reduced a little bit.
I remember last year, I mean, they go to Illinois, first Big Ten game, he has 25 points. I mean, he started out the Big Ten season great. He's going to come in the game right now. I had a chance to coach him for 4 years in AAU basketball, and there's no better guy, no better family than Mark Donnell and his mom and dad.
All right, so John's trying to get this all organized. Now, how can we do this to where we get everybody an ovation?
Here's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get each kid out of the game on their own so that they get their own.
So much for that.
So much for that. They're going with Zach Irvin first and Derek Walton.
Big Irv.
Big Irv, man. He's intense. Look at the rim here.
Lonergan had it blocked. Why not? Go for it.
No question. Next time he'll shot fake and get fouled.
Carson Edwards. That was a positive for Purdue today, his play.
Carson Edwards.
Go dunk it.
And John Beeline wanted him to. He's trying to be a good sport.
Yeah. John Beeline.
Go get a bucket, kid.
Dunk it and end your senior night. Coach Beeline, usually the classiest guy, wanted a dunk to end it for Sean Lonergan.
Well, that horn ends it for Michigan and Purdue. Beeline's team with a huge win, and a loss for the Boilermakers brings Wisconsin and Maryland even a little bit closer to that Big Ten title.
Maryland, easiest schedule. Tomorrow, Wisconsin goes on the road to a tough Michigan State team.
There's your Big Ten capsule from Dan Dockich. For Dan, for Molly McGrath, Dave Fleming saying so long here from Ann Arbor. Derek Walton Jr., Zach Irvin, and the rest of the Michigan seniors. Very impressive today. They win 82-70. Dave Fleming saying so long from Ann Arbor.